Okay, let's continue with this Excel spreadsheet. And next formula we want to do is the balance. And balance basically means, like, if you make $2,000 and you spend $23.65, that's not good. So what's the leftover? Well, actually, you're going to be in negatives there. This one here, if you spend if you make 2,000 and you spend 1,700, that's probably better. Basically, you're taking the difference between them. So I'm going to go equal sign, and then 2,000 is at B2. Take away B15 in mine. Okay, so just make sure you realize what it is in yours. Now, you should get negative 365, which means you spent more than you make, which isn't good. Then you drag it across, and you let go. Okay, and those are the numbers that you should get. Next formula. Next formula is kind of weird. Next one's going to be like a word answer, and this is where we start getting into some new grade 11 stuff that you haven't probably done, because you might have thought this is a review up until this point. So these are now more grade 11 formulas. And this one is called if. It's kind of weird, eh? And I'm basically going to say a word here. And if you spent more than you make, I'm going to say bad. And if you spent less than you made, I'm going to say good. And basically it's going to come down to what's the number in the balance. So right now, that number is in B17. And if it's less than 0, I'm going to say comma, quote, bad. And the way this line works is, if that's not true, then the other thing gets done, which is good. So see how it says bad? Isn't that cool? All right. If B17 is less than 0, bad, else good. And then I drag it across, and some of them are good and some of them are bad. Okay, some more functions. Largest expense. This one uses a command called max. It stands for maximum. Then we go bracket. Now remember, it's the largest expense, so we're going to take all of these numbers. Don't take total expenses. Everything to there. Then you put another bracket, and you press enter, and there's the largest expense. All right, and we can copy that right across. Here's minimum expense. So you go equal sign, min, bracket, highlight all of these up to there again, put another bracket, press enter, there it is right there, and drag that across. Okay. Next one is average expense, equal sign, AVG, bracket, and then highlight all of those, another bracket, press enter, whoops, it's not AVG, then what is it? It could be the whole word. Sometimes you're not sure, so you might have to use the full spelling of it. Let's go average, bracket, okay, there it is, with decimals, and then you drag it across. Now this one here, if you don't like all the decimals, you can right-click, Format Cells, and you can change the format to number and to 2 decimal places, and you press OK, and it switches into 2 decimal places. This one here, range, is something like you do in geography, where you take the highest, take away the lowest. So you're almost inventing a kind of a complicated form. You say max, and you say the maximum of all these numbers minus the min, bracket, of all these numbers. Kind of a crazier formula, and you press enter, and that's the expense range. So the highest expense, take away the lowest expense, and you drag that across, and there's the range. Last couple of commands are definitely new. Number of expenses. So there's this new command called count, and basically you drag your mouse from there to there, and you press enter, and you press 8. So that one has 8 expenses. Some of them don't have 8. You'll see. Some of them have 6, some of them have 7. Next one, number of negative balances. So you go equal sign, and then this is called a count if. And what I'm going to do is go across like this. I'm going to take the number of negative balances, and then I use a comma, and then quote less than 0, and press enter, and there's 2. The last formula is really kind of weird. It's the sum of all the expenses for January and for June, and that's how you write it down. It's very different, and that's what the answer is, and there's no copying it over several times.